Hello, and welcome to the Movie Universe. I'm your host, Movie Fan. Well, 2025 has nearly come to an end, folks, and I decided to talk about something special on our way out, and that would be Power Rangers SPD. Now, I've been watching this year, and I finished it some months back, and I just had to talk about it because, oh my god, just the whole notion of what it is and what time frame it is. I had to talk about it. Now, first, let me start off by saying that, one, I loved the series. It was great. I love the concept. The whole idea that it's not too far in the distant future where humans and aliens coexist together on Earth in harmony. Most of the time. Because there's the occasional criminals, or in this case, an empire trying to come in and obliterate us all. That's where Power Rangers SPD comes in. They're there to keep the peace by fighting evil aliens and arresting them. And this series actually takes a very different approach from traditional Power Rangers. In fact, it might be the most different one that I've come across yet, because most of the time it's usually, fighting evil aliens and they destroy them, and, we're at it again. In this case, they prefer to arrest them, because they're supposed to be the police force, although they act more like a military regime, in my opinion. But anyway, they are the police force, and what they do is they capture evil aliens in cards. They're not destroyed or anything like that, although there were a few times that did come up. And what's even more interesting is you don't often get the whole make my monster grow bit. Instead, the evil aliens are using giant robots. It's a really awesome concept, and I do like it. And what really gets me the most is this takes place during 2025. Hence why I had to talk about it, right? Because, it's funny. There's no aliens here coexisting with us, so yeah. But it's funny that they decided to try to think that far ahead into the future, because with Power Rangers, usually it's always been, current. Ever since Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it always kind of started in the 90s and then just moved forward. But for this, it dared to try to look forward into the future. And the only other Power Rangers series to take place in the future was Power Rangers Time Force, because that was set in the year 3000. Although they do come back in time quite a bit. And on top of that, the cast members, they were great. Our Power Rangers, they all have a lot to lend to it. I like their character profiles. I like how they have their strengths and their weaknesses, their good sides, their bad sides. For instance, Jack, I like him. He's got great leadership, but he's a little careless, and at times he kind of takes a wrong turn because he grew up on the streets. But he's getting better at it. Sky, he is a hardcore, dedicated Power Ranger who really wants to be just like his dad, who was a member of SPD before him. Bridge, he's brilliant, but rather eccentric. But it works for him, and he's also kind of a comedy relief character in this, because of the way he thinks, the way he acts, and what he does. Sid, well, she's kind of a stereotypical blonde, but she's got her good points. Z, she's probably one of the most impressive female Power Rangers I've ever seen, because she's smart, she's kind, she's got some awesome moves, and she's very beautiful. And she definitely has a great character profile that is worthy of the Power Ranger title. But of course, there's two characters that stand out above them all, and they are the brilliant and very beautiful Kat Manx. She designed and built all the weapons and gear for the Rangers, and in one episode, she actually did become a Power Ranger, the Cat Ranger, to be precise. But she's very beautiful, she's very intelligent, and, I just love her eyes, how they glow that green. She's a great character. You can't help but love her in more ways than one. And, getting to know Kat Manx in this series, I can't help but ask this question. What if she met Billy? Can you imagine the kind of brilliant devices that the two could have created? Oh, that would have been an awesome idea. And of course, the one character who stands out for me the most would have to be Doggy Kruger. He is awesome. I love his design. He's a jackal, but with his skin, he's got like this reptilian look. And the animatronics used to create him, they are incredible. But I'm not surprised because Disney had been working with animatronics for a long time. So I'm not surprised that they were able to do it. But Doggy Kruger, he is a great leader and a great mentor. He's smart, he's kind, but he is very strict and he is very stubborn. He is a great ranger and a very powerful ranger. In fact, when he morphs, he is the Shadow Ranger. And all he needs is that sword of his. Definitely my favorite character in the series.
And here's a cool fact for you. The person who plays him, John Toohey is his name, he also played Beast in the movie Battleship.
And of course, then there's the Omega Ranger, who is from the future. As I recall, they said he was from the year 2040, but he ended up going through a time portal and kind of got stuck here for a little bit. But it's a good thing he did because he was able to help the Rangers big time.
Pretty much the one big thing about this series that stands out the most is how they really tried to be different. In fact, they pretty much tried to break the entire tradition of Power Rangers itself. For instance, they don't have secret identities. They're very well known because they're out protecting Earth from bad aliens. But either way, no secret identities here. Now, this wasn't the first Power Rangers series to do this. That credit goes to Lightspeed Rescue. However, SPD did a better job of it. Because with Lightspeed Rescue, it felt more like a government regime, and, I never liked that. Whereas for SPD, well, it feels more legit. Another thing that comes up quite a few times is our main characters do bicker quite a bit. Usually how that always goes on Power Rangers, it's usually done by someone casting an evil spell on them to make them turn on each other. Well, in this case, nope, they have some big differences between each other. Like there's times where they get on each other's nerves or stuff like that. So that's another thing that really makes this stand out because they try to be a little bit more realistic. Because usually with this show, it always tries to, well, inspire and to show that, a great team works together. A great team does not fight. In this case, they show that that's not really true. There's plenty of times where, teams, they have troubles and that they can get into arguments as well. Heck, there's even quite a few episodes where Kat Manx and Doggy Kruger are actually arguing with each other. There's been a few times that Kat actually lost her temper and actually hollered out,
"Stubborn old dog!"
And there's been a few times where Doggy Kruger was actually at fault. Because usually, the mentor, he always knows everything. He's always right. But there were a few times where Kruger was actually wrong. And you don't see that very often in Power Rangers. And there is one more thing that definitely makes this pretty more realistic and a lot more different than how Power Rangers is usually portrayed. They put it down that two of our Rangers, Jack and Z, came out of the gutter. That's no lie. They were criminals. Well, more like Robin Hoods, really, but technically they were breaking the law. But they were out of the gutter. I'm talking like the poor side of town and all that. Grew up on the streets trying to help people. But the thing is, with Power Rangers, usually, they're all good kids. They all go to school. You don't really know much about their home life, but you get a pretty good idea that they're not living in the gutter. They're not raised on the streets, that sort of thing. They probably came from really nice families. For Jack and Z, that wasn't the case. And that was a pretty bold move to try to, portray that you got these two characters who came, well, from the wrong side of the tracks, and they end up going on that right path. It's very inspirational, a little bit more realistic, if you ask me, because let's get real, not everybody's going to be from a good family and all that. That's just the truth. So that was a pretty bold move, and I think it worked out pretty well. And speaking of coming out of the gutter, this show actually dared to do something that, to the best of my knowledge, no Power Rangers series has ever done before. They actually showed poverty. I'm not kidding. Many of the aliens, and even a few people, they are living on the streets. You actually do see that. And it looks dark and dreary at times. Now, granted, I've seen dark and dreary because, let's get real, a lot of it was filmed in New Zealand after Disney bought the rights to it. But my point is, I've never seen a Power Ranger series where it wasn't hunky dory. It's all everything's good out there. It's a nice little town and all that. In this case, maybe a nice town, but what I see more of is people living on the streets. They didn't dare talk about that in the show ever before, and to the best of my knowledge, they haven't done it since. And that was pretty daring.
And that's pretty much all I can really say, because when it comes to Power Rangers, you really need to check out the series for yourself to see all the action, the small bits of drama, and of course, all the kind of adventures they get involved in. So if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you look it up. All the episodes are on YouTube now, and I'm sure you'll like it. This is Movie Fan, signing off.